Well, he's moved.
Yeah, the guy next door moved, yeah.
So how long have you been here for?
10 years now.
10 years, right?
10 years.
And what do you guys do here?
So we do gym, got the gym running. So we do boxing, weights, like boot camp, fitness exercises. So all your kind of like gym stuff. And then I also do like drug and alcohol counselling. You could say life coaching, mentoring. All that stuff mixed into one.
Yeah, man, because it's funny, because just for anyone that's watching, Glenn and I, we grew up in the same hood at Mulgrave. And I think last time I ever saw you was during a period where we were both in a fucking pretty dark place. And it's fantastic to see what you're doing here now, in relation to especially the drugs, right? I think let's give some comments to how did this all occur? Like how did we get here? And 20 years ago, me and you used to run around the hood, smoking weed and slinging packets basically. In a sense. Like how did that change? And what was it that drove you to this?
Well, we're kind of going back a bit now anyway. So I guess, the big realization, I guess, for me was that when I got caught anyway. So, before that, just fucking around, using drugs, just a loose cannon, just, doing whatever I wanted. Didn't have any respect for myself, the law, just anyone. Yeah, just doing anything pretty much. But I guess 2008 was like a big change for me. For the very first time in my life, I got caught with drugs. It was actually at Wanda Street. Yeah. So we were, me and my mate were chilling behind Wanda Street shops, and I don't know if you remember, like always between like December and January, there'd be a blitz of just undercover cops everywhere.
Oh, really?
So in Mackie Road, all there. Yeah. Every year around that time, there'd just be undercover cops just in and out of that little pocket.
Yeah, right. Because Mackie Road used to be the place to just go smoke weed.
Yeah.
And before that, it's funny you say that, because before our time, it was a big haunt for heroin.
Yeah.
Springvale.
Yeah, for sure. So they were kind of doing like a blitz, and you knew they were around. So at that time, that's why we would never smoke behind Wanda Street shops, but they were around, so we went behind Wanda Street shops. Anyway, I had an altercation with a police officer, and I guess if I'll break down the full story anyway. So pretty much we undercover cops come, and I had weed on me and stuff, and I had money on me, and I was like, oh fuck, undercover cops have come, so I quickly dack all my stuff. They told us to get out. They knew us by our first names because we'd always get hassled by them, whether it was at Mackie Road or up at the shops. Glen Waverley Police, they knew us by first name. Anyway, so there was one cop that I knew, and there was one cop that I didn't know. Anyway, he came and he was like searching my mate, but the way he was searching my mate, like he was grabbing all down here, and he was like looking and all that sort of stuff, and I shit myself because I was like, fuck, like, I've never been searched like this before, and I had about $2,000 on me. I had half a bag of weed, but it was all in little Grammys and stuff like that. And then I had 2 phones and stuff like that. So I was like, fuck.
Oh, the old 2 phones.
And I was like, fuck. I started like panicking. Anyway, he was coming up to me now, and I was like, what the fuck? Why are you searching my mate like this? You can't touch him like that. What are you doing? And he's just like, shut up. And he was coming towards me. And it's like that long alley between the milk bar.
Yes, on the side.
The milk bar and the, what is it? The
kindergarten.
Yeah, the kindergarten thing. So there's like that, that alley. So we're at the top of that alley. So I started walking back
towards Wanda, or back towards the other way?
Back towards Wanda. So opposite Mackie Road.
Yeah. Back towards the street.
Yeah. So walking back towards the street because I had shit on me, and I swore at him and all that sort of stuff. But when I swore at him, he punched me in the face.
Yeah, wow.
And I was just like, whoa, like what the fuck? Like this guy's,
He's like,
he's serious. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because I was like, don't touch my mate. You're a fucking this, that. And then I had stuff on me, and then all of a sudden I started running, because I had stuff. But, the last, like growing up, SJV, St. John Baptist, primary school, I was fast, quick, all that sort of stuff.
So you decided to leg it?
Yeah, but I thought, in my head, I was like, I'm still this man, fast runner. I could sprint. But in the last couple years prior to that,
you stoned was the first question.
Yeah. And I put a lot of weight on as well.
Yeah.
So I remember I went to run, and the first thing I was like, what the fuck? I felt like I was in a different body, man. Because I don't run in years.
Yeah.
And I was running, and I was like, why the fuck aren't I moving like I'm supposed to? But anyway, so he started chasing me. He was like, stop. And I was running. I ran past the shops, past the little that garden thing now. It's got the childcare centre. And I started running, and he's like, stop. So anyway, he got his light thing out and hit me across here. All right.
Through it or here?
He hit me. He still had it in his hand.
Yeah, right.
He hit me, and I was like, oh, got obviously hit, and then ran again. But as I got a little bit further, he went to tackle me, and when he tackled me, I grabbed him from the side and fucking body slammed him on the floor. Yeah. Watched too much NWO back in the day. So, and then he fell on the floor, but I fell as well. So, and I was shitting myself as well, because I knew there was a cop that was going around. A few of the guys in the area had been harassed by this cop, and it'd be late at night, and they get bashed. They get punched, all that sort of stuff, and get harassed. And because I'd never seen this cop before, I was like, fuck,
is this guy?
Is this the guy that they're talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, I grabbed the torch, and I'm like, stay the fuck away from me, stay back, because I was, this time I'm like, puffed out, hit here, and I'm like, stay away. Anyway, he pulls out another baton.
On the baton?
The extended, this is the extended one, and just fucking went bang, like a big X, because I had these big ass bruises, no shit, here, like that, big X, and then I fell on the floor. Anyway, I get up, run down Wander Street again, but this time I cross Wander Street, so I'm on the other side of Wander Street. I'm running, I'm knocking on doors, because I'm like, this guy's like bashing me. He's kicking the fuck. He's kicking the fuck out of me. And at the time I was 20, and I'm like, fuck, knocking on the door, help, this guy's bashing me. And then he'd be like, no, this is Glen Waverley Police or whatever, because all the lights would go on, and then no one came to the door. So I ran out again on the other side. There's traffic, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And this is, Wander Street's a bit long before you get to Wellington Road.
Yeah.
So I'm running all down there, and then he tackles me again into the bush, and I'm up against a white picket fence. You probably know, on Wander Street, there's that white picket fence as a house. Anyway, I've been hit a few times, and now I'm just like, just arrest me.
Yeah.
So I put my hands out like that, and again, just fucking bang, went that way, and then bang again, and hit, my hands got hit really, really hard. And then I get up again, and I run, and I'm near the bus stop. I don't know if it's still there. No, the bus stop that's at the bottom of Wander Street?
Yes.
The red?
Next to the medical centre.
Yeah,
Yes.
there. So I'm around there, and then and I can't breathe, man. I'm pretty much having a heart attack at this time, and I'm like, I stop, I go on my knees, and I'm like, all right, I'll give up or whatever. And then he's like, put your hands up. I put my hands up, and then all of a sudden he comes around from behind, and I hear just like a pop, like a lid pop up, and then he just goes, psh. He maced me while I was on the floor, hands up, and I heard this thing die out. It literally went, psh. And I'm like, it's in my face, it's in my mouth, everything, and I heard it die out. So I'm on the floor going, I get up, because I'm like, fuck, this guy's like fucking, he's kicking the fuck out of me. And I'm hurt now, my hands are fucked. My back over here. So I get up, and this time I'm crossing Wander Street again, but I can't see, and I just hear, man, and I'm like, help. And then cops, more divvy vans pull up. And this is how dumb and naive I was. I run to the cops, and I'm like, help. This guy's bashing me, and I get fucking spear tackled by this cop. And I'm thrown on the floor, and then all of a sudden, I literally stomped, knees, fucking, you know, getting sworn at, getting called fucking black this. The guy was calling me Matt at one time. I was like, who the fuck is Matt? Like, you know, getting stomped, everything. And then, you know, I was like, what the fuck is like going on? Like, you know, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me by the cops. And then I'm down on the floor, more cops come, and I could barely see, but I could see the sirens and all that sort of shit. Like the lights, not the sirens, the lights. So there's a few divvy vans, and their undercover car was still at the top.
Okay.
You know, the one that we see all the time was with my mate.
Yep.
And the other one that, you know, that bashed me was down with me there. And then all of a sudden they're like, does he have anything? No, he doesn't have anything on. And then they rip my fucking pants off. They rip my pants like literally off me. I only had like one shoe, like I lost the shoe, everything.
Yeah, right.
They rip my pants off me, and then they're like, oh, you know, and then I'm not even joking, man, like they rip my, you know, my jocks, but you know, they pull it down, and you know, drugs fall out, whatever, and they're like, yeah, we got you, whatever. Anyway, I get handcuffed, but when I get handcuffed, like this is fucking like tight, like really, really, really tight. Like my hands were fucking. Still today, I haven't felt anything like that. My hands felt like they were on fire. Like it was that tight.
That tight.
Because they got bruised and bashed and everything. They were that tight.
That as well.
Yeah. My hands are on fire, so I get thrown in the divvy van, and I'm just like, and I look out the window and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like what the hell just happened? The first time I've never been in trouble with the cops before, ever. First time divvy van. First, like, full altercation, you know, I'd always just piss off the cop, but first altercation, I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, ambulance comes, so they take me back up to the shops, and the ambulance parked in that alleyway I was telling you about. So the ambulance are kind of like looking at me weird, because, you know, obvious
injuries.
Yeah, looking at me weird, and they're like putting water in my face and all that sort of stuff. And then the officer, the one that I had the fight with, comes and goes, that's enough. And they're like, oh, we still need to give him medical attention, all that sort of stuff. And then they ran out of water and all that. And I remember he walked out, and you know, one of the paramedics was like, she was literally giving me her own personal drink bottle to have the water and stuff like that. And then after that, I went to the station. They took me to Glen Waverley police station. So I went to the police station. My hand was like fucking like dropping. My hand was like dropping, and I was like, I remember when I was getting my fingerprints, the cop was like, hey, you might want to have a look at that, because it was like dropping. Anyway, I went to the interview room, still no pants, one shoe on, just in my jocks, yeah. And then this guy walks into the interview room and goes, hey, do you want some water? And I just said yes. At that time, I didn't realize what he fucking did, only till like after, because it didn't really resonate. Anyway, he gave me water in a cup, like a plastic cup. I drank the water, but as soon as I drank the water, all of a sudden my eyes started fucking going like watery again, and I was like, oh, and I couldn't see, and I was like, I couldn't see, and the other cop was like, are you okay? And then the one that gave me the water, the one that bashed me, was like, oh, I need to take him at the back, obviously I need to hose his face out more. And here I am like, yeah. And then she just like looked at him like this for a bit, and I was like, in my head I was like, what the fuck, like just take me outside, whatever. Yeah. I didn't realise till later he fucking put mace in my water, because when I drank it, like it triggered everything again. So then after they stared at each other, she's like, can I talk to you? And they went outside, and I never saw him again. And then the new cop came in. And then when they took me to the bathroom, it was like the senior kind of, it was an older guy. He's like, come with me, and he took me to their actual change rooms and their bathrooms and all that. And I was washing my face and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I was in there for hours. I was in there for ages. And I remember I went home that night. My hand was fucked, and my eyes were like watering, like I couldn't close them. And I remember just thinking like, what the fuck am I, what am I doing? You know, I snuck in the house, like, you know, it's 3 a.m, my dad was sleeping, whatever. And I remember sleeping, trying to turn on one side, it's all fucking bruised, everything. Turn on the other side, and I'm like, I can't sleep. And that whole night, I was just like, I need to change my life. Like, what am I doing? You know, all this I never thought it was bad. I never thought I was like them, all that sort of stuff. And it really hit me. I was like, I need to change my life. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm selling drugs. I'm using drugs. There's no structure. There's no routine. There's nothing. I'm just doing whatever the hell I want. And it was like, as shit as it was, and as bad as it was a big wake up call.
Yeah, okay.
Big wake up call. It was the first time that I stopped in my life and thought, like, I can't be living like this anymore. I can't do this. Anyway, the next day, I'm bruised, and I'm like, I think my hand's broken. So I go to the doctors, writing me a big report. It was the same weekend as that. You remember that Corey Worthington?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the same weekend as that. Like, he did that big Facebook.
The party. And
And all the people that went there. So when I was going to the hospital, like, oh, you went in that party that was last night and all that sort of stuff that was on Facebook. And I said, no. Anyway, they're like, oh my God, that's really bad. And I had, because the cuffs were so tight, I had lines.
Mark from it.
Yeah, like lines. It looked like I cut my wrist. Had lines, from here to here.
Yeah, right.
I still get pins and needles and I rub that. But they write me, because I said, oh, can I just get a report, whatever. And they write me a report. But as soon as I said it was involving police, the lady deleted the whole thing and just said, just use Nurofen gel.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I went to the front, and it was a lady, it was a family GP, the lady that knew my mum, and I was like, oh, and she's like, what's wrong? I go, like, I think I've never had a broken thing, but I think my hand is broken. And she's like, you getting pins and needles? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, maybe go to the hospital or whatever. I went to the hospital, and it was like this older lady, and she was like, come, like, because she could see I was like kind of sad, and it's like no one was believing me. And then I went to her, and she's like, that hand looks broken. So she took me, like, I went in emergency in the hospital, so took me in a little room anyway, and she's like took x-rays and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the doctor came in, and I remember I was lying like on the bed like that, and he just I told him what happened. He grabbed his pen and kind of like moved my shorts, and I had big bruise like that on both thighs. And I remember his face just looking like, the face says it all, like, if you don't want to say anything. But and he just kind of like looked at me like that, and they're just like, yeah, it's fractured, whatever. And then I kind of went home, and when I went home, I was angry. I was really, really angry. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe that happened. But when I told people were like, nah, man, like,
But I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think, like we grow up looking for protection from police officers?
Yeah.
We expect a sort of responsibility from them. But at the end of the day, something wrong by the law. Now, does it take someone with that kind of heavy hand on people that are breaking the law to change their ways? Does it have to be like that, or
no?
Because it doesn't have to be.
Definitely.
But it did for you.
It
for
did.
example,
It definitely. Yeah. You
doesn't
don't
have to be. Yeah?
You don't need to stomp someone out, mace them,
Of course not.
break their hand.
No.
Like, I was 20 at the time. Like, this guy would have been in his 30s. Like, I was like a kid still, So I definitely got treated shit, and I was angry. I was angry at the law.
But they were doing that to the drug dealers and everybody in those areas. It was an easy target.
Exactly. And like I was saying, like there was people that I know, like their dads went to jail and stuff like that, and they were getting harassed, in those areas.
Yes.
Where's your dad? Boom. Where's your dad? Up against the thing, pull you over, change your car, change your tire, all this, getting harassed.
Always harassed.
So no, definitely not. Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
in your instance, it's probably the best thing that happened for you, in that sense.
Yeah.
Because where
Yeah. Because there was a moment for me where I was like, nah, I'm fucking going to court. I'm going to court.
Go to court.
Yeah. But anyway, so like in that 6 months, I had to change my life. So I was like, I need to fucking change my life. I can't be doing this anymore. I need to change my life. So I didn't know who the fuck I was anymore. Didn't know nothing. And, you know, I remember, you know, my brother, my family, everyone told me, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, you know.
Did they know that?
Everyone knew what I was doing.
But
No one said anything.
But did anyone know?
They started to know, yeah.
Did they know about the
police?
bashing?
Yeah, afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, afterwards. You know, because there was a bit of me that was just like, fuck, I felt a bit ashamed. Yeah, a bit of shame. And then it went that extreme. And then some people didn't believe me. Everyone's like, come on, man, it's not America. They don't do that.
Yeah.
Cops don't call you black cunt, you know?
Yeah.
They don't bash you, they don't break hands, you know? Everyone's like, it's not America, relax, you know? So there was a bit of, some people believe me, and some people were like, nah, man, that doesn't, nah, you're talking shit. So then I just stopped talking about it. You know, it was really hard to stop talking about it. Anyway, so I was like, I need to change my life. You know, I all of a sudden got a summons. A summons came in the mail. And I guess so prior to that, actually, so 3 months before that, I got into an altercation. Some guy used to drive around in and out of the area. And so you know where Emdem is?
Yes.
Like the first left?
Yep.
Yeah. So someone near there anyway, older guy, always used to drive around anyway. One day he drove around, he's like, you fucking black cunt. I see you. Yeah. If I see you again, full pulled over.
Oh, right.
What the fuck are you looking at? And I was like, what? And he's like, the fuck are you looking at? I'm like, nothing. And we got into altercation. Anyway, he calls me black cunt. He goes, I see you again in the area. I always see you around. I see you again. I'm gonna fucking crack your head in.
Yeah.
And I was in a carload of guys. And I was like, what the hell? Are you gonna let that happen to you?
Yeah.
And because I was on my BMX, I used to drop off to everyone. I knew where everyone lived.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone. So went to his house. You know, we get into a big fight.
Right.
Yeah, we get into a big fight. We kicked out pickets out of the thing, get into a big fight, like a big fight with this guy. You know, there's like 4 of us onto one older guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I thought we didn't get caught. Like nothing had come, everything came at once, all the summons, you know? So that just happened. So all of a sudden I get this summons. You know, prior to that, they'd raided my mate's house because everything, I lived in Mulgrave, but everything said that I lived in Hampton Park.
Yeah, okay.
With my mum. So they rate, you know, Glen Waverley cops, they're not going to drive all the way to Hampton Park. My mate's in Mulgrave.
Yeah.
They'll raid his house. Anyway, so everything came crashing down. I get my summons, and I'm looking at, I got reckless cause injury and a fray times 2.
Yeah, wow.
Because that guy had his mate rock up at that altercation.
Yeah.
I got assault against a police officer. that guy said that police officer said I assaulted him.
I got that.
Yeah, trafficking.
Yeah.
And then drug use, and then, you know, they took my phone, my money, all that, proceeds of crime. Yeah, all that. So all that coming at once. And I got 6 months, and it's coming in 6 months. So I'm like, fuck, I need to look good for court.
Yep.
First time going to court, like these look hectic, you know? So I was like, fuck, what do I even do? Where do I even start? So the memory that I had before all that, I was like, what did I used to like doing? What was I good at? And it was like athletics, you know. I remember, you know, in primary school, you know, beating 100-meter records, all that sort of stuff. I had a Victorian record, you know. I was really good at athletics. So I was like, all right, let me just try do personal training. It's close to it.
Yeah.
But here I am, 112 kilos, still smoking a lot of weed, very overweight, very angry, very depressed, arms all bandaged up and everything. And I'm like, fuck it. Anyway, so I go into my PT course the first day, and, you know, someone asked me, are you lost? Like, who are you looking for? But in that 6 months, I started going to gym. I started doing weights again. I started running again.
Was that driver, those documents that come through, was that the driver? Was there anyone behind you that were pushing you as well?
Not.
Or was it just you?
It was me.
There was a change in you mentally that goes, hey, something needs to change and needs to give. And you realise, hey, maybe you were lost in that moment.
Yeah.
Someone said that to you.
Yeah.
But the confidence, you had to build that confidence up.
Yeah.
Because as we know, weed can take away confidence.
100%. 100%.
And the only confidence you get is when you smoke.
Yeah. 100%. So I had no confidence at all. And, you know, throughout that 6 months, you know, I had a pretty hectic teacher, ex-army dude and all that sort of stuff. Kicked my ass a lot. But it was good. it was really good. It taught me so much, you know.
Discipline, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like there's one story, and I tell these guys all the time. That's like, class started at 9 o'clock. I got there at 9:03, 9:05. The door was locked, and I was like, what the fuck? I drove all the way from Hampton Park. I was like, what the hell? And he's like, come back later. You know, I was like, no. And he's like, if you want to be a personal trainer, you got to look like a personal trainer. Yeah. You got to come, you know, you got to be on time. You got to be punctual. All this sort of stuff. So then all of a sudden, I raised my standards.
Yes.
First time in my life, someone's almost disciplined me, and someone's like putting standards and rules in place that I have to abide by, or else I get kicked out of the course.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's teaching me stuff. And then as I'm getting fitter, as I'm getting stronger, I'm losing more weight. And as I'm losing more weight, I'm getting stronger in the gym. I'm getting more confident in myself as well. And then I'm not using drugs as much, and I'm focused. You know, I went from someone who was like putting any drug in my system because I hung around with drug dealers. Try this, got a new bag of this. Try this new pill, whatever. Yeah, whatever. To then all of a sudden like watching what I'm putting in my body. And then with that, and it didn't have to be hectic. Yeah, it was just more about respecting my body, respecting myself. You know, looking at what I was consuming.
But also who you are, what you're looking like to others.
Yeah.
What you're going to represent.
Exactly.
As a whole.
Yeah. So stepping into that, I guess, that new identity of the version of what I wanted to become anyway. So I started getting all like clean, started like doing really well with my life, all that sort of stuff. And then I had caught. You know, I was out on bail. So because of that stuff, I was out on bail. And no shit, I was banned from Mulgrave. Like banned from Mulgrave. So Police Road, Wellington Road, Springvale Road, all the way down to Jackson's Road.
To Wavers, basically.
Yeah. That whole square. And I thought it was bullshit because one time Jason was getting engaged, my brother, and I went to go borrow shoes off a mate on Wattle Grove. Cops pull over. Well, what are you doing here? And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what do you mean? You're out on bail. Put me in divvy van.
I know shit.
Put me in divvy van. I had to wait. Glen Waverley Police Station. They wait for justice and peace. And I missed the engagement. They called my dad. They're like, you're gonna have to go to jail. Yeah, they're like, you're gonna have to go to jail. They called my dad. My dad's like, we got family from Mauritius. Everyone's here. Wow. Glenn is the only one that's not here. I'm sure you're a father or whatever. They spoke to my dad, and then they're like, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
I'm so fucking lucky because normally you would have to, you know, whatever. Anyway, so out on bail, 6 months comes up, my first court case. So I'm fit, I'm healthy, got my character references, and I'm like, fuck, I'm sweet. Like, this is going to be a slap. Like, it's going to be nothing. Then my barrister was like, nah, you're good, you'll get community work, like, you're sweet. So in the morning, I get ready, I put my suit on, everything. My mum's like, where you going? You know, stressed, ethnic parents, you know. Yeah. I stressed her a lot. So I said to her, I'm going for a job interview. Where are you going for a job interview? Yeah, I'm going for a gym. Didn't say anything. I look back on it now, like I'm going to a gym interview in a suit. But you know, like I'm lucky, you know, ethnic parents, you know, they don't know, whatever. But now you look back, you're like, you're not going to a gym in that. So I go to Dandenong Magistrates Court. First time I've ever been to court.
Yeah.
Character references, everything, whatever. So I walk into the courtroom, and it's very new for me. My little brother's with me, and mate was there as well. So he sits there, and I sit with my barrister talking about, got all this, like that. He goes, yep, we were looking at community work would be sweet. So I get called up, Glen Munso, and then all of a sudden the cop that bashed me, he walks in and goes to the left. I haven't seen him since, and I was just like, what the hell? And he's just like, okay, on the, you know, explain it, on the, you know, the 3rd of January 2008, you know, Mr. Munso was caught with this, he assaulted me, he did that, and she's just shaking her head. And prior to that, he was in another altercation where he assaulted a guy and his friend, and it's like the charges are affray. So affray, reckless cause injury, very, very serious. You got like a manslaughter, and then these ones follow through. Yeah. So you got like affray, reckless cause injury, and then assault. So they're like the serious assault charges. They're pretty serious. And then to have two of each, so 4 all up, 2 affray, 2 reckless cause injury, and then on top of that, assaulting a police officer. It makes the picture that they were painting was a very aggressive, violent person. And you know, when they were talking about that, I was just like, what the fuck? Like who are you talking about? Like, that's,
yeah.
That's not me. Anyway.
And as they are saying it, it's sinking in.
Yeah, like...
Your life might be on a massive change.
Yeah, like I shit myself. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, the judge is like, Mr. Munso, get up, the fact that you have these charges very serious, the fact that you assaulted an authority, member or whatever, you've got drug charges, all this sort of stuff. I'm sentencing you to 6 months imprisonment to 5 months to be served in the community. I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what that meant. Bang, bang. I'm like, yep. And here I am like smiling, like, yep, cool. So pockets, and then I turn and there's 2 police officers there and they're like, you empty your pockets. And I'm like, what? They're like, empty your pockets. I'm like, why? They're like, you have to come with us, empty your pockets. So I So I gave my shit to my brother. I said, don't tell mum. So then we walked out.
How that's the first
Yeah. I'm like, don't tell mum.
That's the big
Yeah, bro.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Such immigrants.
Yeah, man. Shit. My parents are scary, bro. So then before you get to courtroom, there's like a little foyer thing with the 2 doors. So in that little bit, then they put, face the wall and they handcuff me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, And I walk out in the foyer area and that's busy. Everyone's waiting for their courts and all that sort of stuff. It goes quiet. I've got police officers on my side and everyone is just looking at me and I got my head down going, what the hell? And they take me to the back and I'm like, fuck. In my head, I'm thinking, am I going to jail for 6 months? Am I what the hell's going on?
What's going on, yeah.
So, they take your tie off, take your shoes off, all that sort of stuff. And then they, put everything in a big Ziploc bag and then they take me in the back and there's all the holding cells. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is this? A big glass wall, people, like from here to the wall, like what, I don't know, 8 meters or whatever. Yep. And all they're doing is walking up and back.
Yeah, right.
Having a conversation, walking up and back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? I can hear screaming, all that. And then they're like, that's one cell, and then the other one's like, some guys like this. And then there was a free one. I was like, please put me in the free one, please put me in the free one. I'm shooting, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And then they put me in the free one, and then they shut the door. And it's dark, it's cold, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I still didn't know.
In your suit?
Yeah.
You look good at least.
Yeah. Well, all I got was my pants and my shirt. They took everything else. Everything. Tie, shoes.
Of course.
Everything.
Shoelaces.
Yeah, everything.
All that, yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what do I do? And I'm just thinking. And all I could hear was screaming down I was the last one, but then there was another hallway. But he's screaming coming from that hallway. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I see a lady.
So it starts to become a reality.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, my mum thinks I'm going for a job interview.
Fucking long job.
I was at school the day before, like doing really good, almost finishing my cert. Like, what the hell? And then, so a lady walks past, handcuffed, 2 cops on each side, and these guys that were in the cells are all saying, oh, good luck. I was like, what are they saying good luck to? And I look, open the door, and it goes back into the courtroom. So she was in the side, I don't know, 5 minutes or so comes by, she comes back out, she's bawling her eyes, screaming like,
So she was there for a hearing or something.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, what the hell? And they were like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise after she obviously was going for bail but didn't get granted, so she's going straight to jail. Yeah. So then a guy walks past, police officer, and he's like, have you spoken to your lawyer yet? And I was like, oh, can I? I didn't know. He goes, give me a second. Anyway, another hour goes past. I go speak to my lawyer and like a little interview room. So you the movies, you got the telephone.
Yeah.
There's no telephone, there's just a little speaker hole thing.
Yeah.
So he's
So what was the instance? So so they said 6 months.
with 5 months to be served into the community.
Yep.
So when I spoke to the lawyer, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what does that mean? He goes, you got 1 month jail, 5 months community work, bail, all that sort of stuff.
But 5 months of Monday to Friday community work.
Yeah, well, it depends. I didn't know what I was getting served yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So then he said, you got a couple options. Take your 1 month.
Yep.
You go tomorrow morning.
Yep.
You stay there. You go tomorrow morning.
Where to?
Oh, I don't know. They like, I remember him saying Port Phillip, but I don't know. Apparently from there, no, I don't know. That's fucking. There's no one wants to go there. And I was 20 at the time. Like I'm very young, very new. Like I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like, so, and then he said, or we can apply for bail, but you have to go to county courts, the one in the city.
Yeah.
They got the wigs and all, like it's serious. And then you could be looking at doing 3 months.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I'm like, I have to get out of here. My mum thinks I've gone for a job interview. She will literally have a heart attack. Like I've put my parents through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like I have to get out of here. And he's like, all right, we'll apply for bail, but you can change your mind. You got 30 days. So if you want to do the 1 month in the 30 days, you just come to Dandenong, hand yourself in, whatever. Once the 30 days expires, you have to go to county.
Yeah.
So anyway, I end up another hour, go back to my cell, another hour, then I go back to the courtroom. This time handcuffed, but I'm in the side bit.
Okay.
So I sit down, there's a police officer there, but I'm in my own little barricade.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, Mr. Munso, these are all serious, but she's like, I'm granting you bail. So I was like, oh, thank fuck. Again, still I didn't really understand all these terms.
Yeah.
So I go out and I had to sign paperwork like this. At the end of my signature turned to a fucking line, bro.
Yeah,
I just want to get out of here. I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. Like, When I leave, I get out, they give you a bag and all that. The room is empty. I was there all day. The foyer is empty. And then that day, I wanted to use, man. I wanted to use, man. I was like, fuck this. I've worked really hard. I was getting my life on track. I hadn't used drugs for a while. Getting fit and healthy. Like, what's the point? Like, the system's corrupt. This is bullshit. Like, what's the point? This is bullshit. So then I went home. As soon as I went home, my mum's running down the driveway, and I'm like, oh, fuck. She's going to kick my... She knows.
Yeah.
And then she's like, did you get the job? Did you get the job?
What did you tell her?
I said, no, I didn't get the job. She's like, what's wrong? I got a massive headache. Headache. So I stayed at home that whole night. My phone's ringing because people knew what was happening. Come back with the boys, Don't worry about it, We haven't seen you in ages, catch up.
Which is obviously
drugs.
Going to happen. Of course,
exactly.
Of course.
But my teacher also said, if no one rocks up, this was on Wednesday, if no one rocks up on Thursday's thing, I'm failing you. So I was like, what do I do? And it was a fight all night. This is a fight. Oh, what do I do? What do I do?
Internal struggles, though.
Massively.
Yeah.
And then but then you know what? Like I reminded myself, I was like, you know what? Like I had enough. I was like, you know what? Like I reminded myself what it was like to see my mum cry and fucking be worried. I reminded myself the disappointment on my dad's face. Everyone feeling helpless, being bashed by the cops and being, told. Reminded myself what it was like just sitting in the cell, thinking, I'm gonna go to jail, all that sort of stuff. Reminded myself how much of a fucking piece of shit I felt and thought of myself, all that confidence that I'd lost and then regained, all that sort of stuff. Do I want to go back there, or do I still want to
go? That work that you put in,
so much work I put in, but
because it's so easy, it's so hard to get to where you are. It's so easy to throw it away.
Exactly. It was like an epiphany. I was like, what do I do? All this hard work, make it worth it? Fuck it, So I ended up going. I went back to school. Waited for the bail thing, the 30-day thing to expire.
Yep.
And then court was coming up in December.
And that was at county?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, counties
so what was the options then?
different. No, you just go county.
But with the same charges?
Yeah, same charges. So it gets revisited now. So it's almost like a second opinion, almost sort of thing. Because so you went to magistrates.
So you're, okay.
So I went to magistrates and I appealed it pretty much. I went there and she's given me 1 month. So then it's like, okay,
so
I didn't settle for it essentially. We're going to take it to higher courts. Well, they'll assess it. Again, pretty much that's pretty much what it means. Yeah. So when I went to county, same charges all, but it was in December, and he's like, and this time I was like, fuck, what do I do? Did I make the right thing? Because I'm like, if it's 3 months, that means Christmas inside. my birthday's in February. My
yeah.
birthday's inside, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? Like, you know. So anyway, like when I went to county, there's a lot more people next to the judge. You know, they've got the wigs on, and it's different, like
It's
green.
more formal.
Very, very formal. Very, very formal. But when I went in there,
And a lot more serious.
yeah. When I went in there, the judge was like sending everyone to jail. Yeah, I know. I walked in and I was like, she sent someone to jail for traffic driving, bang, 3 months. She sent someone who was looking after their disabled dad, and he was like, this, I'm the main care or whatever, bang. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And then so I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God, this is my hearing went for about 2 hours.
Wow. 2 hours.
Going back and forth, and she was like,
Who in your judge?
yeah, my barrister, the police, her,
You're right.
you know, and send him.
And it pays to have a decent barrister.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. A lot of money, but it did.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, they're like, he's violent, he's doing this, he's assaulted police officers, did this, afraid, all this sort of stuff. And at the time, there was all this stuff in the media about violence in the city.
Yes. Street and all that.
Yeah. Like it was massive. It was really, really big. And so the barrister said, you know, you probably got the 1 month because when stuff like that's in the media, they, you know, they're more make an example out of these kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, so we're there. She's just shaking her head the whole time, and I'm like, oh my God.
The judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm going. And then, you know what the weird thing is? She said, are you New Zealand? Like that. And I was like, what the hell? And like angry, you know. At first she's like, oh, you're doing personal training so you can become a better fighter. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
really?
what? Yeah, she's like, you're doing personal training to become a better fighter so you can fight more people, fight more police. You know, what nationality are you? Oh no, she said, are you New Zealand? And I said, no, I'm Mauritian. Or like, God or whatever you want to call it. She changed like this. The minute I said Mauritian, oh, it's a beautiful island. I go there every year. Do you speak French? Like changed.
Wow.
Like this. Changed. Wow. Do you speak French? Do you do? Just change, and it threw me off. I was just like, no, we speak Creole. You know, it's like the downgrade. Parents learn French. Oui, yeah. You know, don't send me like, you know. But she just changed, bro, and I just thought, what the hell? She changed, and then she's just like, yeah. And she's like, I'm gonna send you for an assessment. We'll come back on Monday. Adjourned. I went for assessment. Absolute fucking bullshit. So they assess you to see if you're, I don't know, fit for the requirements of the order. Uh-huh. So if you have mental health issues, yes. You know, where to kind of put you. Okay. You know, if I'm doing this order because they want to rehabilitate you as well, yeah. All that sort of stuff. So I went and go and see like this psychologist guy, and he's just like did the assessment, all that sort of stuff. And then I had to see another one afterwards. But anyway, I went back to the courts, and then she said, I'm sentencing you to... The whole time I thought it was... I only realised this because I was cleaning my house. I went over all my stuff. I got sentenced to just under 800 hours.
Wow.
I've been running my program now for 9-10 years. Never seen anyone. And I did community work with some armed robbers and all that. Yeah. Never seen anyone have that amount of hours.
Wow.
Ever. Still now.
Yeah, right. Wow.
It's a lot of.
That's a lot of hours.
A lot of hours. And so she didn't send me to. So I got put onto an intensive corrections order. So what that meant was 2 times a week I got to do community work.
Yeah.
2 times a week I got to sign in, Dandenong Corrections.
And it's a 2 full days?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 full days community work. Sign in and check in at corrections,
yeah.
And then twice a week, and then one of those times was like a meeting with them,
yep.
And then I had courses, anger management, drug rehab,
diversion program,
all of that stuff. So I started my order in December 2008.
Yep.
I finished it in April 2010.
Wow.
Yeah. Like 18 months. 2010, 2008, 2000. Yeah. So 18 months, a year and a
18 months.
Yeah, year and a half.
Wow.
So it was long. It was very, very long.
So what did you? So I guess you learned your lesson.
I got tested.
And was there moments maybe in that rehabilitation period that make you do that you're like, fuck this?
Yeah.
Like, did it test you into, your old vices?
It tested me a lot, bro. Like, the reason why it tested me is like when I first started doing community work, we had to pick up rubbish. So it's like 8 hours. I'm at fucking Noble Park Station, Springvale Station.
Those little clippers.
Yeah, bro. Beep, 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 beep. And I'm just like, I don't want no one to see
me. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this. Like, what the hell? And then the programs that I got put into.
But it give you time to think?
Yes and no. There was like...
Because I guess at that point you hated the world.
Yeah, I was angry, man. I hated it. And I was like, this is bullshit. But anyway, like I did drug and alcohol counseling with this old lady, and I'm like, you don't even know anything. You're nice. You're nice. You're talking to me nice and all that. But I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? Doing anger management.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, I got put into... They had 2 psychologists.
Yep.
They interviewed the whole of Dandenong Corrections.
Okay.
So Dandenong Corrections, there's a lot of people there. Anyway, they interviewed everyone, and my corrections officer said, they're doing a program called COG Skills. It's like for 10 people, but she's like, you won't. It's like for more serious people. Like, you're fine. Like, you're all good. Anyway, they interviewed everyone, and I remember getting interviewed. They're asking me about all my charges, whatever. And then a couple of weeks later, I had my meeting with my corrections officer, my weekly one. She goes, there's an envelope for you here. And I was like, what the fuck's this? It's like, you've been accepted into COG Skills. And I was like, what the hell? Like what do you mean? And she was a bit shocked as well. Anyway, I rock up to this thing the first time. And this started at like 10:30, 11, because all these guys were on the methadone program.
Okay.
I stepped into it at like, I would have been maybe 21, maybe at the time. And all these guys were in their 50s.
Yeah, right.
But like serious criminals. Yeah, man, serious. Like very, very serious. I don't think I gave eye contact to anyone like the first couple of weeks because, I was just like, what the hell? And then like on the lunch break and all that, they're going to hang around with each other and they'll be at the front. Serious people, you know? But the first time in my life, I fucking listened because they're like, don't be like us.
Yeah.
Like, look at us.
Yeah.
I'm 50 something, been in and out. Like,
that was
heroin, methadone program. I'm doing this, doing that, and that was the first time out of that whole order that I actually listened because I'm like, fuck, like these guys are serious.
No, I don't want to be there.
I do not want to be anything like that.
Yeah.
So then that made me kind of like realize as well. Where I'm like, because I was told I was going to have an 85% to 90% chance of reoffending. I was told because I was the middle boy that drank that I was a high risk.
Yeah, okay.
I was told because of my background, I was a high risk.
Yeah, okay.
And that I was going to actually end up in jail.
Who was saying this?
Statistics, psychologists,
but who was telling you this? Who told you?
Them. Yeah. So when you have your assessments and all that sort of stuff, this is on file. On file.
So
yeah.
According to our data.
Yeah. So it's on file.
You're going to do this.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing a piece of paper and it was all highlighted. And I was like, what is that?
So obviously that's driving you to.
Yeah, because I'm like, fuck that. Like, you don't know nothing about me. Like, how can you tell me that?
How can you assume this?
Yeah, how can you tell me that that's going to be me? You haven't even asked me anything about, like, you don't know me. You haven't asked me about my goals. You don't ask me about nothing. And I was like, and that upset me. I was like, no wonder there's such a cycle of reoffending because no one's talking about after. Yeah. No one's asked me about my goals. No one's asked me what I'm going to do next year.
There's no
nothing.
To that.
Nothing. Yeah. It's like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. You're doing this because of this and this statistic and that statistic. But no one's asked me about my goals. No one. And at the time, I finished my personal training, so I'm doing personal training. I'm training people, 6 to 7, 8 to thing, and then going straight to community work at 9, and then doing to 5, and almost living this fucking double life. But no one on my order or anything. No one knew I was doing personal training. No one knew I was getting my life. No one asked, and it made me like upset, but also on a mission. I was like, no wonder like people keep reoffending. You're just setting us up. And you put shit in my head now that this is who I am.
And yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then every time I talk about the police stuff, that doesn't happen. You know, everyone gets offended. It's not America. That doesn't happen. Bit dramatic. You know, all that sort of stuff. So I guess I started to maybe take a little bit more ownership of my life. Maybe didn't talk about that stuff as much and was like, this is what I need to do. You know, I need to get my shit sorted. This is what I need to do. But it just made me really evaluate, I guess, my mission. Because when I finished that program, I'm like, fuck, man, like, things need to change. Those older guys were good, but they were coming from a perspective of don't be like us.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was...
They'd been there for so long that they knew their fuck ups.
Yeah.
And they see a young guy like you coming in there.
Yeah. But they gave you advice that they weren't taking.
Of course, easy to do. Yeah?
Exactly. So I was always like, yeah, but, you know, like, take your advice maybe. But, you know, I guess that changed everything for me. I started looking at things a lot differently, you know, in terms of like the system. And I remember just having a click going, fuck, no wonder people were back here.
Yeah, and how it's just this vicious cycle.
Because I felt like a piece of shit the whole time I was doing the order. You know, we do community work, crims, literally, the back. And then everyone at the front. You know, because you go into different places, places that are running and you know, whatever. And we just be in the back, like, and I was just like, what the hell, like, you know, and I met a lot of people that, you know, when I spoke to people, I was just like, regardless of the charge or the, you know, the label, it's just like you and me, bro, like normal people, with big hearts, you know, they just went down, you know, whatever.
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And I was just like, what the hell? So it just changed my perspective and everything, man, and it just really, it's very, very challenging, but changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I guess, that's why I kind of went down the avenue of starting this program, essentially.
And with that program, obviously you've come away with 2 books.
Yeah.
And what is it in those books that obviously you've learned that you know you scream to your pupils or people that want to change? What is it that you give them outside of obviously your own personal story? What are the tools that you give them that we were never given? Or you were given? We've spoken about sort of what's after, but obviously the moment when you created those books, you've had to probably dig deep into what has led you to that
100%
at Wonder Street.
100%.
So what was that?
So
what were those things?
So like for me, I guess when I first started doing so I started doing PT first, and then at first I just started helping people that were overweight like me. Want to get their life on track, overweight. Because it was never about the food, ever. And then one time I was speaking to a client, he said, oh, you have so much wisdom for your age. You're young, like, what's your story? And I told her, and she was like, what the fuck? Why aren't you helping those kind of people? Why aren't you helping the people that were once in your situation? So then I started doing that sort of stuff here. And I was like, I started my program, but I really looked back. I was like, what was everything that fucking helped me? And I was like, it was the exercise, getting back into gym, training. It really switched up my mind. It switched up my mind so much. It made me respect myself. It made me focused. It gave me confidence, all that sort of stuff in the gym, because I started believing in myself more. And then it was nutrition. It was like, not going all hectic and stuff, but just being conscious enough to knowing that the foods, because when you eat shit, I was at that 24-hour KFC, you know, all the time, bro. Exactly.
We lived in the
best
spot of fast food.
Best spot.
Spaghetti junction, KFC,
everything. Sometimes in a day I laugh because I'm like, I was like, sometimes in a day I'd clock everything. It's like there's nothing else to eat, you know. So, you know, we're lucky with that. But anyway, so nutrition. You know, healthy food, but food also being conscious or being aware of the shit that I was putting into my body so that I could function better. And then I started looking at like the mindset. Mindset was fucking key. It was like getting my mindset right, but also switching it up so that I started to believe in myself, believing that I could achieve the things that I put aside and all that sort of stuff. And mindset covers like so many areas, you know, changing or evolving with my identity of like where I'm going. You know, who do I need to be? What do I need to do like differently to have the outcome that I want in my life as well? So just really like learning and changing that whole thing as well. And then it was also, I look back of like learning, you know, self-development, learning, all that sort of stuff. And then it was just like the thing that made my heart full was giving back and helping others, that, you know, giving back to community, giving back to others, sharing my story, all that sort of stuff. So my first book, you know, everyone was like, man, you're getting so much success, help here, help there, help in Perth, help in Sydney, help in Queensland. And I was like, I don't even know I don't even know how to start that. So I was like, I started the book, and that was based, my first book, Drugs Do Not Discriminate, and that was based on my 5 fundamentals on how to overcome and recover from a drug addiction. And the first fundamental is going back to your roots. So when people come in here, you know, everyone's always lost, and I always say, go back to your roots. What did you used to love doing? What did you like before this? You know, it came back to my story as well. When I was lost, what did I like doing before the drugs? Athletics, running, all that sort of stuff. So the first fundamental, going back to your roots. Second one was exercise and nutrition, you know, moving around, getting fit, all that sort of stuff. There was one guy that I had an interview with, an army dude, and he was like, back in my day, you know, everyone was moving around more, eating better, and he's like, the mental health thing was, we were different.
Yeah, we were different.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, you know, everyone's sitting down on their phone and everything. And that was like a very interesting concept, you know, and I was like, it's true to an extent, like, you know, moving their body, all that, moving around, all that, so all the benefits that come with that. So that's something that's massive. And then the third fundamental is mindset. You know, at the end of the day, it's your mind that's getting out of the shit, out of that shit funk, you know. So you got to work with it, not against it, work with it, learn about it, all that sort of stuff. And then the fourth one was the self-development. So keep learning. It's never late. Go back to school, go back to uni. You can, like, we're so...
Yeah, we can learn, and there's no timeline, I don't think.
100%.
You know, Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson only made it in their 40s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
That's a great example.
100%.
You know, there's never too late.
100%.
We always put pressure on ourselves that, fuck, man, I'm 30 and, you know, time's gone by and I've done nothing. You know, I've not achieved anything.
Yeah.
Never too late.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer of that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I laugh back now, like, I thought I was old at 20 when all this happened. I laugh at that now.
All our friends were at uni.
Yeah, I laugh at that now. I was like, I got to catch up.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm the only one that's not, you know. I laugh at that now. So, you're right. It's never too late. Like, what the hell, you know? And then the last one is like giving back. You know, if you know, I just think about, like, you know, back in you know, from a negative perspective anyway, like with drugs, you know, you give it out to everyone goes chills with everyone. But imagine on the flip side, you know, we break through all that, we get positive when we surround ourselves with the right people, we empower our communities and all this sort of stuff, and spread that, you know, that it's possible to break that. It's never too late. You know, it can be achieved, because there's a lot of stigma with all this sort of stuff. Once an addict, always an addict, you know, but once you're in, you can get out. If you can get in, you can get out. Always, you know, and we need to like break those barriers and encourage and, you know, show people, because people lose hope. You know, if you're talking about 20-year, 30-year addictions, people lose hope. But if you show them, like, look what I'm doing. And so many people that I met as well, you wouldn't even know what they'd been through and what they're doing now.
Just regular kind of folk,
Yeah, man. So it is possible. You know, and I think that's what we need to do, because even with me, with those statistics, like, you know, what was that based on? Like, well, where the hell did that even come from without knowing who I am?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the first book. So Drugs Do Not Discriminate. Second book, I went really a bit controversial, I guess you could say. I started doing my book tour. I went all around Australia and stuff like that. I became a best-selling author.
Oh, wow.
So in the first hour of it launched, got over 100 copies.
Yeah, wow.
And then, I think up to date now, it's like I sold over 5,000 copies.
Cool.
So I went to schools and rehabs, and schools were just buying them. We'll buy, 100, 200, all that, just buying them in bulk and everything. And then I started touring and doing like communities. And then when people come to me, you're like, it's inspiring what you're doing.
Yeah.
My name's whatever. I'm a drug addict. 13 years, but I haven't been using for 10. And I was just like, at first I didn't take notice of it, but a lot of people kept saying similar stuff like that. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, I never, when I was like, you know, sitting down, I was like, I never called myself a drug addict. It wasn't even in my, nothing. It wasn't here. It wasn't in my mind. No one called themselves that. The first time I got called a drug addict was when the Herald Sun was doing an interview, and they're like, Glenn Munso, ex-drug addict or whatever. And I was like, what the hell? Never called myself that ever.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking, like, it made me start thinking, you know, the people that I'd met along the way, the people that were supporting, holding these events, and I was doing all that sort of stuff, people with similar paths and all that, the people that were doing really, really good weren't attached to that identity anymore.
Okay.
They weren't attached to calling themselves a drug addict.
Yeah.
You know, and I just thought, like, you know, if kids or people came in to get off drugs, am I supposed to say, whether you're using drugs or not, you're always going to be a drug addict?
Mm-hmm.
Am I supposed to like fill their mind up with that?
Yeah.
And then, you know, if we talk about affirmations or affirming statements and stuff like that, if I go around going, hey man, I'm a drug addict, I'm a drug addict, I'm a drug addict, and that's like in the same sentence that I introduce myself and call myself that, what am I affirming up here?
Yeah.
What am I limiting in my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've seen it here, I can't do this because I'm a drug addict. I can't go there because I'm a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
So the second book's called I Quit Drugs Now What? And it's like that next stage, like working on your identity. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you know, if we're talking about values and things that connect the identity of an actual person, you know, we grow so much, we evolve so much. How drugs is not in your value system at all. It's not something that you know, it's not in your value system. It's not in your, you know, nothing. So why are society attaching and calling themselves a drug addict for the rest of their lives, whether they're using it or not?
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, if I look at me, like now, humans, people, we evolve. Like you could say I'm a drug and alcohol counselor.
Yep.
I'm a personal trainer. You know, I'm a fucking son, fiance, like whatever. Yeah, like there's so many different areas. But why do we attach ourselves to this one identity that almost puts the lid of our evolution, our growth of where we're going? Why do we do that to ourselves? You know, and I guess that's one thing I always encourage is like to heal, you have to let go of it. Like, why do we hold on to that? Do we hold that as a backup plan when relapse happens, when failure happens? Oh no, I just do this because of that.
Yeah.
Is it a safety net? You know, how much lighter, if the outcome is to be free, is to, you know, live your best life and do the things that you want to do. You know, like, we need to cut that we need to cut the cord and release it and let go of that. I'm not saying like disregard that part that you went through and all that, like learn from it, whatever, but don't attach it as literally, like you say that in the same sense as you say your name.
So how was that controversial though?
Because it goes against NA.
Okay.
It goes against what a lot of rehabs and places. Well, like a lot of, I guess when I advertise all that sort of stuff, a lot of people go, that's bullshit. Okay. I'll always be an addict, whether I'm using drugs or not. Okay. You know, NA and other rehab places.
So you're instilling a different way of thought.
Different method. Different thought.
Yeah.
Just challenging it.
Which could potentially be more positive than the way it's being taught.
Exactly. Because I've had kids come in here and go, they're gone to NA and they come back and they're 20 years, they're like, am I supposed to call myself a drug addict for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And what am I supposed to say to that? Yeah.
And they don't want to be labelled like that, of course not.
No one wants to. Why the fuck would you? Why?
Why are we pushing these people further down? They're already fucking down.
Yeah. Like, why would you label yourself that? Why would you separate yourself like that? You know? So I'm just a big believer, and it caused controversial because, you know, a lot of people were just like, you know, NA's told me to introduce myself to that. You know, rehab told me that I'm always going to be that. Yeah. You know, all that sort of stuff. Fucking bullshit, bro. Fucking bullshit. You know, and I think we just need to challenge, you know, things that we've been doing, challenge the ways that we've been, because sometimes I feel like we use that or we hold that label as a backup plan because it's scary. It's scary, like releasing and going into the unknown, anxiety, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's a journey, and I think a lot of people, like fucking everyone needs to stop using that. I don't use that with anyone in my program at all. And we do a lot of identity work on learning to release that. Because how can we move forward? How can you move forward in your life if you're still attached to the drug addict identity?
Yeah.
So.
Fuck, man. I haven't seen you for such a long time. What's going on?
So, yeah.
I haven't asked this question yet. I haven't even had a chance to ask. But raspberries or strawberries?
I don't even think I've even eaten raspberries before.
Watermelons.
Strawberries, I guess.
Watermelons and mangoes.
Mangoes, yeah. That's tropical, British, mangoes.
Mongoose or Malvern Star.
Mongoose or mongoose? I don't know.
So would you say that there's another book on the horizon?
Yeah, definitely. I want to do another book. I've worked with some really inspiring people, man, like that have changed their lives and come out the other end with some pretty hectic stories. And I would like to do like a contributors book, and each chapter have a story of those people.
Cool, very
but that's something in the future I want to do for sure, 100%.
It's good to see that you're doing good work, man.
No, thanks, man.
Yeah, it's been this has been good.
No, thank you, man.
This has been good.
No, thanks, bro.
I need a piss.
Go for it.
So I'm happy to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You've got something else?
Nah, man, all good, man.
Yeah.
Good. Sweet. Thanks, bro.